Hello, welcome again to our reading of Homer's Odyssey, Book 3, and I got up to line 253. Ton de mebet epetagarenios hippota Nestor. And now hippota, as I mentioned before, is nominative, so the Garenian horseman Nestor then replied to him. Now the him, of course, is referring to Telemachus. Telemachus has asked Nestor to tell the truth and also to explain to him about the death of Agamemnon. And so he says, I therefore, my child, agoruso, I will speak all the truth, all true things. Toi, I think, probably is here for soy, to you. It could mean just, I indeed will do this, either way, doesn't matter. Atoi, indeed, oei, is from oiamai, becomes oiamai in later Greek. Here you've got the diaeresis there. This is second person from that verb, second person singular, uncontracted, and kautos for kaiautos. So indeed, you yourself know this. Hos ken etukthe. Now we get a ken here. This is an aorist passive with ken. So how something would have been done, how it would have turned out almost, how it would have happened. If, now the subject of this next two lines, you'll see there's no full stop or comma at the end of the line. We take these two lines together. So it's the son of Atreus, blonde Menelaus. So if the son of Atreus, blonde Menelaus, etetmen is a funny verb. It probably comes from a verb temo, I think, which means to reach or touch, and hence means to find. And it's commonly used in this form, to found. So if indeed, son of Atreus, blonde Menelaus, found Aigisthos in the halls when he came, having come from Troy. So if in fact the son of Atreus, blonde Menelaus, coming from Troy, participle eon, coming from Troy, if he'd found Aigisthos in the halls, to, in that case, or therefore, in that case, or then, now this is a slight little bit of black humour on the part of Homer, I think here. It's ken hoi udi thanon tikuten epigain akuan al araton kunes kai hoi ionoi katidapsan kaimenon en pedio hekas astios. So if you'd have found him alive, in that case, now this changes to a plural subject, so they would not have, now the epi is a preverb with, this is from heo, to pour, and the kutain I think goes with guy, and it means something like heaped up soil, i.e. a sort of burial mound. So they would not have they would not have poured heaped up soil upon him having died, but the him referring, of course, here to Aigisthos, but Ara, appropriately, or almost in fact here, and we're going to get as well, the dogs and the birds, edapsen, and we get it with, there's no ken here, unfortunately, but it'd be nice if there were, but the dogs and the birds, katadapsen is from katadapto, would have devoured, I think it is, him, that's Aigisthos, lying in the plain far from the city. Nor would anyone of the Achaean, now this must be the Achaean women here, this is a feminine here, nor would any of the Achaean women have wept over him. So the point is that if Menelaus had arrived and found him living, then the citizens, they, it's the plural, they wouldn't have built a burial mound to him when he died, but rather the dogs and the birds would have devoured him lying in the plain, far from the city, and nor would any of the Achaean women have wept for him. Malaga mega mesate megon, for Mesatot from Madamai, he contrived a very big task. In other words, the thing that he did was so terrible. That is, the subject of this, of course, is Aigisthos, for he did such a great thing. He devised such an almost terrible thing. Hemas gar kai kethi polios teleontes elthlus emeth. For we, and the main verb here is ameth, we were sitting, kethi there, completing many, so I think the kethi refers here to Troy, for we were ensconced, we were sitting there, completing, possibly a possible future here with the sigma gone, being about to complete many trials, ethlus, many labours, but he, so we were here, there in Troy doing all this, but he, eukelos, lovely word, it means at his ease. So he, at his ease, in the recess of horse-rearing Argos, this is from the hippos, and the bot root is that we get cognate with botany and so on, horse-rearing Argos, he was a Thelgesken. Now that there is an iterative form from Thelgo, so it means continually, well, it's sort of soothing, it's soothing muchly the Agamemnon wife, so Agamemnon's wife, we'd say, it's the Agamemnonian wife, epesi with words. Thelgo can mean to charm, I think it's probably better here. So we were there, in understanding Troy, being about to complete many trials, ethlus, many contests, we were ensconced there, but he, at his leisure, in the recesses, in the hiding place almost, in the recesses of horse-rearing Argos, he was continually charming with words muchly the wife of Agamemnon. He de a toi toprin min aniatop ergon aekes. And she, indeed, this is an interesting line here, so she indeed, toprin, previously, for toprin here, this is for an einamai, to refuse. She was, and it's imperfect, so she was refusing this shameful act, so this act of shame, this shameful act, she, being divine or glorious Clytemnestra, of course the wife of Agamemnon. For, now we get this expression, fresi gar kekrate agathoisi. This is from Kra to use. So for she had been employing, or literally using, and it takes a dative, so she had been employing, well, good thoughts, literally good mind. So she had been employing good thoughts. So that's on, we get a men up here, toprin men, previously on the one hand, but beside her, there was also, well, it's para for para, there was beside, this is the past tense of the verb to be with a little epsilon here, there was beside her also an oidos ane, a man who was a singer, to whom the son of Atreus, this is from Epitello, had commanded muchly, had enjoined many times, when he was going off to Troy, to Erusthai, to watch, this is from Eruamai, to watch over his wife. So there was beside, understand her, also a man who was a singer. This presumably is Homer again, just having a little dig here, that the men who are singers are very trustworthy. So there was a man who was a singer, to whom, when he went off to Troy, the son of Atreus gave many orders to Erusthai, from Eruamai, to watch over his wife. Now here's our but here. The Moira, the fate of the gods, Epidaise, perhaps it's the fate or the doom of the gods, bound her, min for autan, in fact, damnai. This is a passive here from damnami, to overcome or defeat, that she should be overcome. So, but when the fate of the gods, well, it's almost determined here. It's bound against her. So determined for her to be overcome. Now, by the way, the min actually could refer to a whole range of things here. It could refer to the bard. It could mean when the fate of the gods determined for this bard, or this man, to be overcome. It could refer to Agamemnon being overcome, being killed. Could refer to Aigisthos. But probably it's referring to Clytemnestra, which is the way I take it. And I think others do as well. So it's when the fate of the gods, it's almost letting her off the hook, that she had no choice in the matter. So, but when in fact the fate of the gods had bound her to be overcome, at that time, in fact, Agon, leading the singer into a Nerson Eremain, into a desert island. Now, Nersos, of course, is feminine, so hence we get a feminine adjective. So at that time, leading off the singer into a desert island, Calipen for Kata Lapo, so the alpha goes, the tor becomes a lambda for euphony, and you get this nice Calipen. He left him behind, Genesthai, to be Helor Kai Korma. This is prey and spoil for birds. So he dumped him there to be eaten by the birds as prey and spoil. Helor Kai Korma. Tained Ethelone, but now it's the subject of this is Aigisthos. He willing, so Aigisthos willingly led her, and she was also willing about this stage. Hondi Damondi, we get this is a personal adjective, hon, his, we get the ending de, and the same on the end of domon. So, led her who was willing to his house. So, but he willingly led her who was willing to his house. Polydemaria K Theon Herois Kai Bomois. And now this is from Kaio, to burn. It's a well, it's hard to know what form this is. It's probably could be just imperfect. He was burning, from Kaio without augment. So he was burning many thighs, this is of bulls understood, upon the holy altars. In other words, he was living it up and sacrificing. and an apesen, and the agalmata, it means things, offerings, and this is from an apto here. So he hung up many offerings. Hasmata, these are weavings, things that are woven, perhaps tapestries and cruson gold. Ek telasas mega ergon, having completed a great deed. So since he had completed a great deed, which never did he hope for in his heart. So which he had never hoped for in his heart. This is from this verb of hope. Normally elpizdo. I'm not quite sure what this must be. Some sort of aorist here, I think. So which he had never hoped for in his heart. Hemas men ga hama pleomen triathan iontes. But for we, at the same time, we were sailing Troy Athen from Troy. So we were sailing at the same time from Troy. I and the son of Atreus, that's Agamemnon, Phila edotes eleloisim, literally having known dear things to one another. In other words, being very close friends. But when we came to sacred Sunion, Atheneon, well, the high, well, perhaps it's almost the high part of Athens. Well, in fact, it's not. They're using Athens in the sense of general Attica. Akron, a high post of Athens, so a high part of Attica, really, because that's where Cape Sunion is. It's right down at the bottom of Attica. There, Phoebus Apollo. Now, the main verb is here, katapephne. Now, we've seen this one before. This is that reduplicated aorist. There, Phoebus Apollo, he coming against him, he slew, he killed. So this is from ep oikomai, so approaching, he killed the Kubernetan. You'll know the Americans talk about the gubernatorial elections, and it's cognate with this one. It's cognate with our word governor, but this is the helmsman. This is the one who steers the ship. So there, at that point, Phoebus Apollo approaching, he slew the helmsman of Menelaus, Hois aganois beleesin, with his soothing shafts. Now, this is a funny expression. It's often used also in connection with women dying. What's a soothing shaft? Well, it probably refers to someone having a heart attack or a stroke. So they're not killed in battle. They just suddenly die, and so it's said to be a soothing Belos missile, because they just suddenly drop dead. And of course the gods must be behind it, so it's Phoebus Apollo here doing this. For women, it's Artemis who does this. So Phoebus Apollo then approaching slew the helmsman of Menelaus with his gentle, is the word I was looking for, with his gentle missiles. Perhaps gentle arrows, sometimes it's translated. It's from Belos, connected with bellow. And his name was Phronis, the son of Onetor. Phrontis, the son of Onetor. Rather interesting name. It means thoughtful, the son of helpful. This is from Oninami to assist. So the guy's name is Thoughtful, the son of Helpful. As he was holding the Paedelion is the oar, not the oar, sorry, the what's it called, the rudder in his hands, the rudder of the swift-moving ship. This is from Theo to run, of the running ship. So the ship as it was proceeding. So he did this. He slew this guy whose name was Phrontis, son of Nestor, while he was holding in his hands the rudder of the ship as it was moving, and so this guy who, Ekainuto, this is from kainumi, which is to excel. So who used to, it's imperfect I think, who used to excel, in other words, he excelled the tribes of men in being helmsman of a ship. So from Kubaneo. So he was he excelled, he was better, he was the best among the tribes of men at driving the ship. Steering is the word I was looking for, sorry, is steering the ship. He was the best whenever allied blasts of wind, this is from Spurco, this is optative, when they might come rapidly, when they might move rapidly. And that's the next section of Book 3.